Imagine going back in time and buying Tesla on the day it went public. A $10,000 investment in Tesla's IPO will be worth well over $2.6 million today. So, when investors hear that SpaceX is finally going public, many are already imagining similar returns. But here's the uncomfortable truth. SpaceX might be one of the greatest businesses ever created and still be a terrible long-term investment at its IPO price. Today I'm going to show you why. And the answer comes down to just one word: valuation. Just valuation. Before anyone attacks me in the comments, let's get something clear. I love SpaceX. They have revolutionized rocket launches. They've built Starlink into a global communications network. And they are pushing humanity towards becoming a multi-planet species. This is arguably one of the most innovative companies on earth. But investing isn't about great companies. Investing is about buying great companies at great prices. And that is where things get really interesting. Now, let's compare SpaceX to Tesla when Tesla went public. The Tesla IPO price was $17 per share, and the valuation was approximately $1.7 billion in market capitalization. Now let's look at SpaceX. The SpaceX IPO price is $135 per share. Think about that. $135 per share. And that is approximately $1.7 trillion in market capitalization. Think about that for a second. Tesla went public at 1.7 billion. But SpaceX is going public at 1.75 trillion. That's over 1,000 times larger. So most investors are asking, can SpaceX become as successful as Tesla? Well, they're asking the wrong question. The real question is, how much future success is already priced into the stock? How much of it is already priced in? Here's why valuation matters. When Tesla went public at roughly 1.7 billion, you see, the company had enormous room to grow. So if Tesla eventually became worth 17 billion, that's a 10x return. And 170 billion will be a 100x return. 1.7 trillion is a 1000x return. Now let's look at SpaceX. SpaceX is already valued at 1.75 trillion. For investors to make 10 times the return, SpaceX will need to become worth 17.5 trillion. To put that into perspective, that's larger than the GDP of most countries on earth. That's more valuable than virtually every company in history. Could it happen? Well, maybe, but the probability is dramatically lower. So here's another concern. SpaceX generated approximately 18.7 billion in revenue in 2025. At a 1.75 trillion valuation, investors are paying roughly 94 times the revenue. Well, for comparison, many of the greatest companies ever created did not sustain valuations anywhere near that level for long periods. So when you are paying 94 times the revenue, you are not buying today's business. You are buying decades of future expectations. And the thing with expectations is that expectations are dangerous because perfection becomes a necessity or becomes required. And here's the point most people miss. Tesla's investors weren't just betting on electric vehicles. They were betting on electric vehicles before the world believed in them. So the market was skeptical and the valuation was small. The expectations were very low. But SpaceX investors today face the opposite situation. The market already knows SpaceX is extraordinary. The valuation already reflects enormous optimism. The expectations are sky high. So that means even if SpaceX executes brilliantly, the stock may still underperform because investors may have already paid for that, future success upfront. And when you look at history shows that many large, highly anticipated IPOs struggle after going public. Even Reuters notes that large tech IPOs have often experienced significant declines after listing when expectations outrun reality. And the potential risks include delays in Starship development, regular challenges, increased competition, lower than expected profitability, among other things. None of these mean SpaceX is a bad company. They simply mean investors may be overpaying, and that's just the reality of it. So let me be clear, I am not bearish on SpaceX. I think SpaceX may become one of the most important companies of the 21st century. But investing success is not determined by how great a company is. It's determined by the price you pay. Tesla IPO investors bought an incredible company at a $1.7 billion valuation. But SpaceX IPO investors are buying an incredible company at a $1.7 trillion valuation. Those are very different starting points. And that is why, despite my admiration for SpaceX, I will not be buying the IPO.